Yo guys, what is up? My name is Grizzly, welcome back to another League of Legends video. Today I'm gonna talk about the changes that happened on the latest patch, which is 8.4 I believe. Super huge changes for top lane overall. Maybe it's due to all the Hashinshin outrage that has been going on recently and has gotten a lot of publicity in the league community. But the change I'm most excited for is obviously the Darius change, because I've mained the champion now for about 2 or 3 years and I think he's been quite bad recently. And this change will probably bring him back, coupled with a lot of other changes. So I just quickly wanted to make this kind of update video because I thought about it a lot, and all the changes kind of combined makes it into kind of a game state where I think that Darius can really succeed. But obviously time will tell, so don't take this video as like gospel. There will probably have to be a lot of play testing on the patch to figure out if Darius is actually super good, but I think he will be at least decent now, because before this patch he actually had quite a decent win ratio, although he was in a quite bad spot because people usually tend to disrespect Darius a bit in lane, and if you're auto-filled it's really hard to lane against him. So it's those sort of things, but the changes are basically to his W and his E. So the W changes that the cooldown goes down by 2 seconds at the first rank, which is super huge because this was the ability actually maxed last. So having the 2 second shorter cooldown when you don't have to rank it up is super huge. And the other change actually makes me think a bit, because maybe it will actually be viable now to max W second, but I don't think that will be the case, but maybe I will try it out a lot, and I'll let you guys know about it when it's kind of has established a bit more in the how people are playing it basically. So it went from 140% of total attack damage at all ranks, and it now scales from 140 to 160% of total attack damage. So that's actually really big later on, especially because, as you guys know, when you get 5 stacks with Darius you get a lot of bonus AD. So that will basically multiply even further now with the increased ratio on the W, so that's super huge for the champion. And then on E, you also get 5% more armor penetration at max rank, but it's at every rank, so that's also super huge, because now if you would max W second, your E is now also twice as good with the armor pen at rank 1, so it kind of works in that way as well. So it's super interesting. I will test a lot of different max orders, and I really think that this can help Darius a lot. And they also changed a lot of other top laners. I'm basically not gonna go over them as in depth as I did with Darius here, so the video won't be like 30 minutes, but they basically nerfed the GP, his mana cost is up, so he's worse early, and barrels no longer grant vision and the duration is lowered. Nar's cooldown refund on Q is lowered, but hop damage is increased, but this doesn't matter at all. Ornn basically got nerfed with the duration on Brittle, and Brittle was the annoying part of Ornn's kit, where he would hit you with the last tick of W and you wouldn't be able to walk up to last hit creeps. But now you will have a 3 longer second opportunity to do so, so that's like super huge. I think Ornn is pretty much dead in solo queue now. Poppy gets some base damage, doesn't really matter, but the changes here, like Ornn was actually super good against Darius. It was really hard for Darius to do anything in lane against him, and obviously Darius is a champion that has to succeed in lane kind of, so Ornn was a hard counter to him actually. And now that Ornn is nerfed, that's super good. Nar is nerfed, that's also super good. Nar was super good against Darius, and Gangplank was also really good against Darius, and now he's worse early as well. So these 3 changes are also like bigger buffs for Darius than the actual buffs, and the buffs are pretty huge, so that's kind of what I'm getting at. Then Renekton buff, that doesn't really matter for Darius, but this is nice because I also like to play Renekton. Right through the counter strike will no longer happen, so that's always good. Frozen Mallet, again, this is a nerf for Urgot and Gnar, because those were the only 2 range champions that bought this item, and those 2 champions were really good against Darius, so with this slow being reduced, it's super good for him as well. And I'm just gonna scroll down a bit, because these are changes to non-top champions, so it doesn't really matter. So we got nerfed, that's really good. There's one more change I want to go over real quick. They removed Tracker's Knife, super good for Darius as well. Kinda in depth to go into why, but you can listen to the right podcast. Can't really remember what it's called, but they basically talked a lot about vision game around top lane, and how if there's not as much vision, more lane dominant champions will prevail. Kinda sounds like counterproductive, but it actually works in that way. Kind of hard to explain though. I'm maybe gonna go over it in another video, but So this is the change I wanted to talk about, precision. Now when you take precision and maybe sorcerer domination, you actually get the attack speed and AD split, which is great for Darius if you would take that. And also press the attack is buffed, and I really like press the attack on Darius as like in theory, but it wasn't really that good because it was quite weak overall. Even like champions such as I don't know, Jax went Klepto and sometimes even Grasp. I actually preferred Grasp over press the attack on Jax. But this change is super big. It changes from 30 to 120 scaling to 40 to 180, and the damage amp is lowered but it scales up, so this is obviously like better for dual lanes or junglers that gank or stuff like that, but this is super good for solo lanes. It will give you a lot more damage with press the attack, so maybe press the attack Darius will actually be good again. Here there's a new resolve rune as well, which is called bone plating, which is obviously really good for all tanky champions. So basically after taking damage from an enemy champion, their next 3 spells or attacks against you deal 20 to 50 less damage. So in early game against a Jace or Teemo or something, this is like a god's blessing, you know, this will do so much for you. And even later, like 50 damage stacked upon like the already high damage reduction you have from all the armor and magic resist, it will actually do a lot of difference. I hope that when this rune comes out on the rune tab, it will actually like calculate how much damage you have mitigated, so you can clearly see. And I think this rune will be bonkers, and I think it will be nerfed, but abuse it while you can, guys. So those are basically the changes I wanted to go over. I think these are really good for Darius. Another one real quick is that inspiration no longer grants the potion duration. You have to take a rune for it now, and celestial body is removed, and all of these worked to survive lane and be tankier in lane, and Darius just wants to shit on you in lane, and if you can survive that, he's obviously kind of bad, so removing these sort of things also helps him a lot. And blast cones spawn later, so it's harder to gank him early. So there's just a lot of changes around the game, not only like the direct buffs to Darius, but all the changes around him that I think will make him really attractive this patch. So that's basically all I wanted to go over, guys. Expect a Kled guide very soon. I'm gonna play maybe 20 more games of him, and then I'm gonna release like a fully detailed guide. I'm also probably gonna make an updated Darius guide once I've kind of figured out all of these changes. But other than that, thanks a lot for watching this video, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.